Okay, so as most of my friends know, I recently did a production of the Vagina Monologues at the Warner Robins Little Theater, and I know that a lot of my friends couldn't come and make it, and some of the ones that did try to make it actually got turned away because we sold out the last night, but I don't know how long it's going to take before I get the video back, hopefully soon, but since so many of you wanted to see it, I'm going to do both of my monologues from the show here, so enjoy. This is how I came to love my vagina. It's embarrassing because it's not politically correct. I mean, I know it should have happened in a bath with salt grains from the Dead Sea, Enya playing, me loving my woman self. I know the story. Vaginas are beautiful. Our self-hatred is only the internalized repression and hatred of the patriarchal culture. It isn't real. Pussies unite. I know all of it. Like, if we'd grown up in a culture where we were taught that thighs were beautiful, we'd all be pounding down milkshakes and Krispy Kremes, lying on our backs, spending our days thigh expanding. But we didn't grow up in that culture. I hated my thighs. I hated my vagina even more. Thought it was incredibly ugly. I was one of those women who had looked at it, and from that moment on, I wished I hadn't. It made me sick. I pitied anyone that had to go down there. In order to survive, I began to pretend there was something else between my legs. I imagined furniture, cozy futons with light cotton comforters, little velvet settees, leopard rugs, or pretty things, silk handkerchiefs, quilted pot holders, or play settings. I got so accustomed to this that I lost all memory of having a vagina. Whenever a man was inside me, I pictured him inside a mink-lined muffler or a Chinese bowl. Then I met Bob. Bob was the most ordinary man I ever met. He was thin and tall and nondescript and wore khaki tan clothes. Bob didn't like spicy foods or listen to Prince. He had no interest in sexy lingerie. In the summer, he spent time in the shade. He didn't have any problems or issues and wasn't even an alcoholic. He wasn't very funny or articulate or mysterious. Now, he wasn't mean or unavailable, and he wasn't self-involved or charismatic. He didn't drive fast. I didn't particularly like Bob. I would have missed him altogether if he hadn't picked up my change that I dropped on the deli floor. When he handed me back my quarters and pennies, and his hand accidentally touched mine, something happened. I went to bed with him. That's when the miracle occurred. It turned out that Bob loved vaginas. He was a connoisseur. He loved the way they felt, the way they tasted, the way they smelled, but most importantly, he loved the way they looked. He had to look at them. The first time we had sex, he told me he had to see me. "Right here," I said. "No, you," he said. "I need to see you." "Turn on the light," I said, thinking he was a weirdo and freaking out in the dark. He turned on the light, then he said, "Okay, I'm ready to see you." "Right here," I waved. "I'm right here." Then he began to undress me. "What are you doing, Bob?" I said. "I need to see what you look like," he said. "No need," I said. "Just do it." "But I need to see you," he replied. "You've seen a red leather couch before," I said. Bob continued. He wouldn't stop. I wanted to throw up and die. "This is awfully intimate," I said. "Can't you just do it?" "No," he said. "It's who you are. I need to look." I held my breath. He looked, and he looked. He got breathy, and his face changed, and he didn't look ordinary anymore. He looked like a beautiful, hungry beast. "You're so beautiful," he said. "You're elegant and deep and innocent and wild." "You saw that there?" I said. It was like he read my palm. "I saw that," he said, "and more. Much, much more." He stayed there looking for almost an hour, as if he were studying a map, observing the moon, staring into my eyes, but it was my vagina. In the light, I saw him looking at me, and he was so genuinely excited, so peaceful and euphoric that I began to get wet, turned on. I began to see myself the way he saw me. I began to feel beautiful and delicious, like a waterfall or a great painting. Bob wasn't afraid. He wasn't grossed out. I began to swell, began to feel proud. I began to love my vagina. And Bob, he lost himself there. And I was there with him, in my vagina. And we were gone. Okay, so that was my first monologue called Because He Liked to Look at It, and I also had another one called My Vagina Was My Village, and I'm going to take a minute to gather my thoughts because that one is a completely different tone than the first one, and I will be making a second video. So thanks for watching and enjoy the second one.